Alright, this reading is for me to unpack some trauma. So stay if you want. You're more than welcome to. Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles might be a little uncomfortable though. And I'm mostly just doing it for me. Posterity healing. Doing the work. I was literally just filling out my application for Friskies and I finished up. And I don't know, it was like as soon as I finished, I got this like, and I realized, without thinking about this at all, I wasn't thinking about it, but I realized why I could get so attached to pictures of people that are important to me. My dad died when I was 11, right? And my repression mechanism suppressed most of my childhood. I don't really remember anything from before 11. I have stories, but they're stories. They might as well have happened to somebody else. And consequently, I have very, very few memories of my dad. Most of them are imaginations that were extrapolated from pictures. But as a consequence of that repression mechanism, Ace of Swords, I started to forget what he looked like. And I didn't have any pictures. I had some, but like I didn't look at them. And after a long time of not looking at them or not having them available, one or the other at any given point, I started to really miss them. I wanted them. Six of Wands. And some part of me, like when the twin flame disappeared, I was so grateful to just have a picture so I wouldn't forget what he looked like. And that was part of the lack, the holding on. And Spirit kind of had to train me out of that. They had to continually guide me to delete the photos that I kept on taking. And even I got to a point where I would keep them, shamelessly keep them, but I wouldn't look at them. And to me that felt better. But I still have this habit of taking a picture and holding on to it and not looking at it, because it feels like it's not something I need as long as I'm not looking at it. But it's like a smoker keeping a pack of cigarettes unopened in their pocket and just never cracking it. Some part of me is traumatized and scared that I will forget the person that I care about so deeply. And that's why it was such a big deal getting rid of the pictures. But I didn't realize that I was still doing it. Not with him, but I took a single picture of the King of Swords. And not in a creepy way, but like I just have it, you know, I don't look at it. But I did it, and I didn't realize that that might be a problem until just now. Because there's still that fear. Somehow, there is still that fear that even if I'm not ghosted or treated poorly or, you know, anything else, that somehow I'll forget. Because that's happened before. Jordan Peterson was literally just talking about that the other day. That when you fall into a pit mentally that you weren't expecting, that you didn't see coming, your brain is always like, well, that could happen again. And it just lives in that state of like fight or flight or fear response. And sometimes I think you can be so used to a particular fear that you've been living with your entire life in living memory. As long as I can remember, from 11 onward, I have had that fear that I would forget. because it happened. And I didn't get those memories back. I thought maybe I would, and I have unlocked some, but it's a drop in a bucket compared to what was there. So once I hit a threshold of caring about somebody to a certain extent, I keep a picture. And Ten of Cups, Ten of Pentacles. When I moved back in with my sister, it was really alarming for me because she's got pictures of my dad everywhere. And I know what he looks like now. And I don't need to have a picture like stashed away somewhere because they're just out. And it feels strange. Uncomfortable. But Ray was talking about that earlier in a reading, how there is a departed loved one in our energy that we are not totally comfortable with, or we don't feel like we got closure with. I've made a lot of peace with my dad, but I still grieve him. And I resigned myself years and years and years ago to that never stopping, because I have always carried guilt for his death. Because when I was a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old boy, I got upset enough to wish that he was gone. And like a day or two later, he was. And it doesn't matter, because the therapist tried to convince me that it was inappropriate guilt, and the mailman can consider himself guilty because he delivered the mail on the wrong day, and if he'd just been a little bit earlier, then something bad wouldn't have happened. But it wasn't irrational. It was intention. It was my responsibility because I wished it. And no amount of excusing that intention makes it not so. So what I'm dealing with now is reconciling that guilt once again, because I know my dad loves me, and I know that he's happy, and I know that he's moved on and found peace, and that it was part of our destiny for it to play out the way that it did. It was part of spurring growth, and without that darkness, I never could have stepped into my light the way that I have. It had purpose. But with all of that out in the front and being psychologically analyzed by me, I'm coming to terms with the fact that I still have this habit of keeping a picture. And when does that become unhealthy? Because I feel like not looking at it is almost as unhealthy as looking at it, right? I think it's the very act of keeping one. But so many normal people keep a photo of people that they care about. They just don't hold that fear within that relationship to the object. But object attachment has always been a thing for me. Things have representations. The photo represents a memory, a touchstone, so that I could remember if I thought I was forgetting. But I haven't had photos of the twin flame in quite a long time. That Two of Cups card is the only likeness that Spirit wanted me to keep. So I've already proven that I don't need a likeness. I don't need a photo. So I'm trying to decide if that's something that I should delete.